Syntax and teaching techniques. This is the graded activity number 3, and my name is Angelica Montes Leon, and my teacher is Lady Adriana Vivanco Rivas. In this opportunity, I'm going to explain the difference between direct, indirect, and oblique objects. The object of a sentence is the person or thing that receives the action of the verb. In other words, the object is one that continues after a verb in order to give complete meaning to the sentence. There are three types of objects, such as direct objects, indirect objects, and oblique objects. The direct object is a noun or pronoun that receives the action and is preceded by the verb. The verb must be transitive to describe an action or an event and be understated. The direct object answers the question what or who after an action verb. Indirect object, it can be a noun or pronoun that depends on the direct object and is often preceded by prepositions. The indirect object answers the question to whom or for whom the action of the verb is performed and who receives the direct object. The indirect objects are widely used with verbs that communicate something, for example, give, bring, tell, show, recite, and offer. Oblique object is also called object of a preposition. Its function is very similar to the indirect object, but the difference is that occurs in a preposition phrase. That oblique objects appear in clauses built around transitive verbs. Now I'm going to present some examples of direct objects. Example number 1, Carol hates the rain. To find the direct object, you have to ask the verb hate. That is, hate what? Therefore, the direct object is the rain in the sentence. Example number 2, Caroline lost coins. To find the direct object, you have to ask the verb lost. That is, lost what? Therefore, the direct object is coin in the sentence. Example number 3, Carlos coached the ball. To find the direct object, you have to ask the verb coach. That is, coach what? Therefore, the direct object is the ball in the sentence. Now I'm going to present some examples of indirect objects. Example number 1, Pedro gave the teacher a gift. First, we must find the verb that is gave. Then it is important to recognize the direct object for which we must ask the question, gave what? Which the answer is a gift. Finally, to find the indirect object, ask the question to whom. Therefore, the indirect object is the teacher in the sentence. Example number 2. Liam bought a refrigerator for his mother. First, we must find the verb that is bought. Then it is important to recognize the direct object for which we must ask the question of what, which the answer is a refrigerator. Finally, to find the indirect object, ask the question for whom. Therefore, the indirect object is his mother in the sentence. In example number 3, Flavia acquired an scholarship for her brother. First, we must find the verb that is acquired. Then it is important to recognize the direct object for which we must ask the question acquire. But acquire what? Which the answer is a scholarship. Finally, to find the indirect object, ask the question for whom. Therefore, the indirect object is her brother in this sentence. Now, I'm going to present some examples of oblique objects. Example number 1, Tatiana was operated on by a doctor. In this sentence, the verb is was. Then to locate the direct object, we use the question was what. So the answer is oblique. This word being the direct object. Finally, we have an oblique object, a doctor, which is accompanied by a prepositional phrase, which is by in the sentence. Example number 2, Tanya was awarded by a teacher. In this sentence, the verb is was. Then to locate the direct object, we use the question was what. So the answer is awarded. This word being the direct object. Finally, we have an oblique object, a teacher, which is accompanied by that prepositional phrase, which is by in the sentence. Example number 3, Theo was beaten by a thief. In this sentence, the verb is was. Then to locate the direct object, we use the question was what. So the answer is beaten. This word being the direct object. Finally, we have an oblique object, a thief, which is accompanied by a prepositional phrase, which is by in the sentence. Finally, here I have the bibliography where I could cite additional trust sources to explain my information on this topic. First is in an introduction to English syntax, which is the basic textbook. The second is syntax and teaching grammar, which is the didactic guidebook. Thank you for your attention.